lead us.
I don't want your future! We were supposed to protect them!
You're afraid. I remember.
There's a lot of moments where I'm not physical, and at times, lovely Ellen Page, who has her hands like this next to my head, would occasionally go, because I was snoring. I would go, all right. When other people are acting, turns out I kick a lot in my sleep because I'd be on the table. I would wake myself up. It's all on film somewhere. It's embarrassing. But anyway, they actually, because they thought there was going to be weeks of me on that slab, they made a dummy of me that eyes twitch and move because I had to go and publicise the Wolverine around the world for 3 weeks. So they said, well, let's do all the slab stuff. We'll put out the thing. But it turned out they didn't use it at all. It's interesting. On the first movie, they were real metal and really sharp. Like someone just said, let's just make them. And I actually stabbed the stunt double for Mystique in the arm. And from that moment on, there've been a mixture of sometimes cut off if I'm really going past someone's face, and then they'll use CGI for the rest of it. On some movies, for example, with Hero in the Wolverine, because he's such a master swordsman, I would use the real claws, and he had a real sword. But it's generally, most actors rightly don't trust me to be slicing past their face with 9-inch metal claws. So it's a mixture of, there are some real ones, fake ones, there's rubber ones, you know, just in case, whole mixture. When I saw this movie, I got goosebumps at the end. I don't want to give away the end, but I really got goosebumps, and it made me feel so grateful for being part of it, but it made me also not want to give it up. But, you know, I am loving playing the character more than ever. And for me, I think it's important to make sure he goes in different directions, to do things I haven't done before. I think if it feels like I'm doing the same thing again, it's disappointing for the fans, it's disappointing for me, and not good for anyone. So if I don't feel there's something new I can bring to the movie or with the character, then I wouldn't do it. And I am genuinely always been, I call it the Jerry Seinfeld sort of moment. It's great, classy way. If you're going to give something up, do it when you're near at the top. That's interesting. There's so many different ways we can go. There's that, parenting, there's him being a teacher, which seems so, you know, anachronistic, but that'd be fun. There's just, I still feel there's a lot of different ways we can go. And I'm working with Jim Mangold right now, who directed the Wolverine, on developing that new script. So there's infinite number of ways. And luckily, even in the comic books, there's Old Man Logan, which I'm rapidly approaching.
So many battles waged over the years. And yet, none of them like this. Are we destined to destroy each other? Or can we change who we are and unite? Is the future truly set?
Well, I suppose, you know, the end of the first movie was departure for you know, Eric becomes Magneto, and so that journey has been done in first class. So for me, he's just much more of a singular, ruthless megalomaniac, really, in this one. And you know, he's been in prison for 10 years.
You know, the guy's trying to hide from the reality of what's happened to him and the trauma that's happened to him. He's trying to black out, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he's literally, his greatest asset, his greatest power, his empathy and his ability to hear the pain of the world has become crippling for him. So he's trying to kind of shut that down in a quite an abuser of narcotics and alcohol way. He's trying to black out.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Thank you for coming. With this weapon, there will be no human collateral damage. If I turn it on, the system couldn't even activate in here. Unless there's a mutant. He's not a guy that will do something good without public recognition that he's doing it. There are a lot of heroes out in the world who do things every day, heroic things, and don't call attention to it. I don't think Trask is capable of that. I think anytime he does something, he'll exploit it for like, hey, look at how I can be nice. See, everybody, see how nice I can be? He wouldn't do that in the privacy of his own home. being someone who's not as familiar with the comic books as a lot of people, I just drew from the script, which was informative enough. And there's so many different, X-Men comics out there, versions and things. And actually another actor played Bolivar in previous films, so your mind gets a little cloudy in terms of that. But no, I just drew from the script itself, and it's a really richly drawn character. Tyrion has a lot more fun than Trask. He definitely shirks his responsibilities a lot more. And he's much more warm-hearted, I think, than Trask, certainly. Yeah, after playing Tyrion for about 5 years now, I've sort of gotten close to the guy, a bit closer than I can with Trask. So, yeah, but they definitely are oftentimes the smartest person in the room, unlike myself. So that's always fun to play.
I had a glimpse into the past. You're going to have to do for me what I once did for you. I think I did ask some questions about how the time travel actually worked and how the past would be presented, if it would have a different look. Well, of course it does in terms of design and so forth. But I find what the film presents is very vivid and very lucid. One of the things that has been very helpful is that these days with technology, they could show you an animated version of the scene you're about to shoot, which already exists. And that can be very helpful in creating the situation, the conditions, the surroundings, exactly what the threat is and so forth.
I have to admit that I was never sort of a comic book kid.
Me neither, but I was not exposed to things like Marvel Comics. I read English comic books, which were very, very different. But largely, I'm afraid, I was somewhat precocious. I read story comic books, that is, comics that didn't have illustrations. They were just adventure stories, and those were the things that I lost myself in.
I don't want your suffering. I don't want your future.
Please, we need you to hope again.